There's a new head coach down in Pittsburgh.
Now, I know the name, but I don't know much of the history of him.
Rangers, I guess he worked with the Rangers for a while.
Well, Nashville. He came from Nashville.
Dan Muse in Nashville, and
Dude,
he's a younger guy. He's 42 years old.
I just got to say, you're telling me you fired Sullivan and that you're bringing in this guy? I don't know. I'm not trying to be rude, but when you walk into a locker room, there's a head coaching vibe. I don't know if this guy's going to have the chops to do this job.
You know what it says to me, though? I'm the other way. It says to me that Kyle is going to break the band up, and that's your young progressive coach and to me that's the start of the rebuild.
What does a young progressive coach even mean?
What it means is it's not recycling somebody else in the league. They are not at a spot. They are not at a spot where they are going to bring in
what?
I'll tell you later, where they are going to bring in like a veteran guy to get them over the hump. To me, this is the other way. This is where it's, hey, we're not waving the white flag, but we are not going to be a playoff team. So we're going to bring a young guy and we're going to rebuild.
But, Jamie, that's part of my point. When you got a team that's a mess like the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they've got a superstar, aging superstars, and they're no good. They've got a guy that doesn't want to play in the back end that makes a ton of money. They don't have a guy that can stop a puck. What the hell's a young progressive coach going to do with that? Tell me.
But I think it's my point is it's scheduling. Like, to me, it's signaling we're heading in a different direction here. And
you know what my thought is on this?
What?
This is the Chris Knobloch effect, where we had the same reaction when Chris Knobloch got hired.
Well, you're right.
When he got hired, I was like, sorry, this guy's going to step in and push the Edmonton Oilers over the top. He's quiet. He's very composed. He came from, junior, then the American Hockey League, not a guy with NHL head coaching experience. He was labeled by myself and others, well, it's McDavid's junior coach.
Yep.
This is about making sure 97 signs a long-term extension. Knobloch has shut everybody up.
Yep.
Now, the difference is this Pittsburgh team is not the Edmonton Oilers team that Knobloch took over 2 years ago.
This isn't Crosby's midget coach.
No,
or,
exactly.
Coach from junior.
The reality is it doesn't matter who's coaching. They're not winning. They're not close to winning. They're not close to being competitive. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh is going to take a step or two back, and I think that's what you're speaking to, Noodles.
Right.
Is they're going to basically have to wait this out and flush guys out and be building for 2 or 3 years down the road. And this is like a Darko Rajokovic type of hiring.
Right.
Guy you like, progressive guy, assistant, waiting for his opportunity. Give him 2 or 3 years to build, and then when they turn the corner, it should be all good.
The Jays coach there, Charlie Bongos.
Charlie Montoyo.
Yes.
Now, Charlie didn't get to the end of the line.
Right.
By the time they started turning things around, they gave him the heave-ho.
Again, we're disrespecting Muse in a situation. He might be a lot like Chris Knobloch. And,
I think that's
we should
a big
give
part
him
of it.
the respect of that. My point is I think it's signaling that they might be heading in a different direction. That's where the start of that is, okay, we're going to do a younger coach, not a recycled guy. Now let's see what Sid wants to do. Let's see what Gino wants to do. If these guys are playing their contracts out, or we might have we might have all hell break loose this summer. You imagine somebody on that team puts their hands up and said, if you can find a spot for me, go.
I think outside of Sid, they would love that.
But then where does that leave Sid?
Well, he's in trouble. He's not winning anything down there.
No,
it's not going to happen.
Not even qualifying for the
playoffs.
playoffs.
And Sid knows that. Like, Sidney Crosby's not a dummy. He knows what's around him. He's a competitive guy.
But he's got the Olympics next year.
Yes, and he will continue to perform, and he'll make sure he's in shape, and he'll be there, and he's going to play a prominent role in that.
Right.
But I would guess if Evgeny Malkin called up Dubas and said, I want to change the scenery, Dubas would be like, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris Letang. Who else? Carlson. And then you know what he'd probably spin it back on is, can you help me try to find you a place to play?
Yeah.
Because who wants Erik Karlsson right now? Who's dying for Evgeny Malkin at his age and with the injuries and all that?
There is a lot. I mean, there are teams that would take it. It's just a matter of these guys would go. That's really the – keep in mind the cap is going up. Not everyone's, spent to the cap. You're looking at teams that you don't think Chicago would put their hand up and go, geez, I'll take Malkin. I'd take Erik Karlsson. Like, they need talent. They need better players there. So I think there would be guys that would have or teams that would have an appetite for those players. It's just, what do they want to do? I think Kyle Dubas has to, fly to see these guys this summer and go, are you going to play this contract out with us, or are we going to be able to move you?
I think you got to go a different route. You got to say, look, you guys are legacy players, but you either go or we're making you go. That's the only way to go about it. There's no comfortable way to let that ride out. You got to say we're making you. You either do it or we're going to pull the waiver stuff and all that other nonsense.
That was Chris Drury, what you just said.
Like if you guys just think you're going to wheel around here and make this miserable for everyone, we're going to make it miserable on our own terms. Sorry, it's ugly. It's bad business, but we have no choice.
Thing is, Kyle Dubas has no history of doing that. Like his first job in the National Hockey League, all he did was cater to star players and give them whatever they want. Why would he start being the mean cop?
Yeah.
Now I don't see that in his persona.
Maybe through experience, he's like, okay, first time around, it didn't pan out the way I wanted to. I better do it this way. That's why, again, he's 2 years in, signed a 7-year deal.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think the reason why it was he wanted long term. The first couple of years, they're going to go all in on and try and make the playoffs. Now they're not a playoff spot. So now, in the end, you're battling. I think it's a retool. And
retool. That 7 years will creep up fast. Like they'll be terrible for 2 or 3 more years, and then it's like, okay, what? Well, there's only 3 years left on the 7-year retool. So what are we doing here?
Keep in mind, like they're through no fault of his, and rightfully so, they went in every year because they were perennial, cup contenders.
Yeah, listen, Pittsburgh.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah,
they don't have to explain anything.
They don't have
now,
to. But
Dubas didn't benefit from any of that.
He inherited that.
Exactly.
That's my point.
Like he doesn't have a cup ring.
No.
Like that was Jim Rutherford.
But don't kid yourself. He's not absolved of a lot of stuff because he brought in Karlsson. He made a lot of signings and handed out a lot of cake. He signed the goaltender. He signed Graves on defense.
Yep.
He signed Lars Eller. He traded for Erik Karlsson. There's a lot on his
Kevin
plate.
Hayes.
Noel Acciari. Yeah, you go down the list, man. He spent a lot of money right off the bat thinking they could be competitive, and obviously it didn't work out.
Yeah, but it all comes back to 87. The 87, the 87 train is, okay, what do you want to do here? Because 87 can still play.
No kidding. I would beg him to want to. I would be dying for him to want to leave, for the organization to move forward.
Well,
unless he's just.
I totally agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, unless you're just like he's loyal, he wants to play with one team, and you want to watch this guy play the last couple of years, then fine, we'll do it. But other than that, it's like, why would Sid want to play there?